guys, I'm Bullhorn Betty. It's nice to see you. I haven't been here since last night anyways. Something has kind of broke. I mean, not broke, but it just seems really odd. I went over it on my YouTube channel and we're going to be talking about some stuff that came up on my YouTube channel this morning on my live that really just got me bent and hot under the collar. So this right here is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee on February 26, 2024 and has not been seen from since. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. There we go. Sorry, I had to turn my Do Not Disturb on. It's nice to see you all. Hi. So for all those that are just tuning in, this is Sebastian Rogers. You guys know he's been missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, many of us kind of, we have our mixed opinions about him. He doesn't seem like the nicest guy in the world, okay? He seems like a real a-hole, cocky, pompous. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle that you could imagine is probably somebody's opinion of Christopher Proudfoot. However, Christopher Proudfoot was not home when Sebastian Rogers disappeared. His wife was. But many believe that this was either a combination of efforts, but either way that Chris had a hand in it somehow. And so this most recent audio clip has been disturbing, and it gives a lot of people kind of the EBGBs, in my opinion. It made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And I just really felt he felt proud, but proud of himself. He didn't seem like he was concerned. He seemed like he was freaking happy when questioned about Sebastian's disappearance. This is a medically needy boy that needs medication. He hasn't had medication in almost 3 months. He hasn't been home in almost 3 months. And you got a man that seems almost happy that nothing has been found. What am I talking about? I want you guys to listen to this.
It's probably a very boring case if you took away all the crap. It's just we have a 15-year-old autistic child that is missing. And unfortunately, the best part about it is he has managed to do this without any evidence left behind whatsoever.
The best part about it, not the worst part about it, the best part about it is that he has managed to disappear without leaving a trace of evidence. Doesn't that give you kind of this uneasy feeling? This is so uneasy, especially, you're coupling all of this. What does it say here? Hold on. Let me go back up. He's been married 5 times. What he did to his exes allegedly. Yes. Words. Bullying. Yes. And we've seen his behavior on several different panels with females. You know what I'm saying? So there is that element of females that he talks down to, which always leads me to believe, because this is my philosophy. And only guys can tell you women the truth, whether this holds water or not. Okay? This is just, I'm a chick. But I've always equated, if a man speaks to a woman like a dog, he has no problem, it rolls off of his tongue just being able to be nasty to a woman, not respectful. His initial response isn't respectful. His initial response is venom. I've always learned over time that they don't have good relationships with their mother, because first of all, I come from the country. I didn't live in the country. I actually lived in a town, but my roots were country. And let me tell you what, you have a boy disrespect their mama in the country, they're picking their butts up off the floor. You may call that child abuse, you may call that whatever abuse you want, but it doesn't really matter. A country boy disrespects a female, their mama will drop them. No joke. Drop them. You don't play with it. So that tells me he's got problems with his mama, in my opinion. Just saying. Not to stir up any nonsense, misinformation. I'm just saying. Duper's Delight. Exactly. And that was what was on Bedtime Stories, this Duper's Delight. And you know what? This is what the problem is. We've been saying for a really long time that we feel like he didn't expect this to blow up. This is just a runaway 15-year-old autistic boy, a dime a dozen. We hear about these stories all day long. To be honest with you, they happen all over the country. An autistic child wandering off, dime a dozen. You'd literally be surprised how common it is. But in this case, it's a lot different. Why is this case different than the other cases? Because typically in the other cases, the actual exit, them leaving, was noticeable. There was evidence of it. You know, that's what a lot of people fail to realize. There was actual evidence that they walked out the door, or that they left willingly, or they were on camera walking down the road before disappearing, or something like that. There's evidence. In this case, you don't even have the scent of him going outside of the house, let alone walking down a sidewalk, barefoot, by the way, where there's skin cells that are going on hard surfaces, yet that is all gone and not there. It's not present. So you have all of this that doesn't make sense. So there's no evidence he walked off. He has no history of walking off, whereas a lot of other autistic children had a history of it. And a lot of them are attracted to water. He had plenty of water around him, and then we learned from his father that he knows how to swim. It's a dime a dozen. Don't say that. It's a dime a dozen. Have you ever experienced? Yeah. These are a dime a dozen. Yes, I have experienced them. I read this stuff every single day. I don't know where you're getting your information from. Hundreds of kids go disappear every single day, and hundreds of kids are found. A lot of people don't realize how many children, if you don't believe me, do a public records request in your own community. I think you'd be shocked. There is a lot of children reported missing. And there are a lot of children that are also found. And then there's some that are not. This is one that's not found. And autistic children wandering off, that is something that is unique with a lot of children that are autistic. It's not that they're, in many cases, it's not that they're intentionally running away from, they just don't know that they're not supposed to leave and go out. They're wandering, they're curious. And they find themselves in a pickle or in a pond, and it turns out to be a really bad day. But yes, it is very common for autistic children to wander off. Yeah, they're usually, Sabrina, children, they're usually found in a day or two. I mean, and even with TBI, that's my thing, is if you go to TBI's, I think it's either Facebook or Twitter, you can go down there. I mean, they have missing people all the time go missing. And you see found, So it's not that TBI doesn't know how to find people that are truly missing. I mean, you can go to their social media page and see they have a great history of finding people that are missing. But it's when kids disappear and vanish off the face of the earth is where Tennessee starts having problems, because they do have a lot of children that disappear. They wander off. I mean, in all fairness, Tennessee is a mountainous terrain, so you've got those elements to work with. There's a lot of places that children that are unseen. There's probably a lot of stories in those mountains of people just disappearing and never being found again, that truly just disappeared and never were found again. Walking along and there be just a hole that nobody sees. It's grassed over. You just happen to step in the right spot and you're gone. Tennessee is a mountainous terrain. It's a forest terrain. So you can easily get lost out there. There was a boy that got lost out there for 36 hours. And I think it was February. It was fairly cold, kind of similar to this. He took his dog out walking, and went out in the woods, and his dog came back home without him. And so they sent out the cavalry to find him, and they had to, this was like, I don't know, several months. I think it was almost maybe 9 or might even have been a year after Summer Wells, but it wasn't that far from her house. And I remember we were all kind of biting our nails thinking that, oh my gosh, we're going to have another Summer Wells. They're never going to find this boy. And they found him. And, he had survived all night long. He didn't have any water or any food. It was like 36 degrees out. It was, they said they found him dehydrated, but, he got lost in the woods and he was coming home and everything, it didn't work. They didn't find him day one. But they did find him, 36 hours later. They were able to bring him home and reunite him with his family. And this is not the case here. They're saying this boy wandered off. There is literally not a stitch of evidence to support that claim. Not a stitch of evidence. There's no proof he opened the front door. There's no proof he walked out. There's no proof he locked the front door after walking out. He's not seen on camera footage. He's not seen on audio footage. He's not seen on, if he walked past the school, he's not seen on any school footage. There's got to be a store or something along his path of travel that he would have been spotted or seen on when the sun came up. Nothing? And it's not like that morning that they had the cavalry out there or the days after leading into it that they weren't getting calls of sightings of Sebastian, and every one that they came across was not Sebastian. So where is, everybody's wanting the proof of something, but nobody's wanting the proof of him literally walking out the door. There is no proof of him as simple as walking out the front door. So if we want proof in this particular case, I think we need to start with the initial proof to start establishing what type of case we're dealing with. And that is, what is the proof that he left that home? Can anybody provide that to me? Does anybody know? The only proof that we have that he left that home is his mom basically says all the doors and windows were locked. That's the only way he could have walked out. She didn't see him walk out. She didn't hear him walk out. The dogs didn't pick up him walking out. So where's the receipts? We want receipts so bad. Where's that initial receipt? That is the first receipt we should have in our possession, custody, and control. Is the proof that he walked out of a home that he allegedly disappeared from. The phone call. Phone call would be interesting. Brandy, but see, that's what I think. So Brandy says he has to be in the house or house and buried. But see, this is the kicker. This is where my issue lies. Chris left the house after returning to the house. And he didn't just leave to go to the store. He left for 17 hours. He was at work. He comes to the house. He stays there. He leaves. He disappears for 17 hours, saying he had to go get his camper, which is only 3.5 hours away. But he left the house after returning to the house. Could Sebastian have been at the house when he got there? And could he have left with him? We don't know when those scratches were put on Chris's arms. Could it have been after he returned? Could he have told the cops that while he was trying to pack his camper up, he got all these scratches on his arm? We don't know when those scratches were put there. No forensics, nothing. You know what? I was looking back because I covered, on my YouTube channel this morning, I don't just cover, one specific topic. Well, we kind of do, but I always, if I have time, I try to incorporate in a couple of the other cases or updates on the other cases that we've been covering that kind of died down or simmered down a little bit. And we were talking about the Madeline Soto case and the Crystal Rogers case. And I've got to tell you that when you're talking about forensics, We had the Madeline Soto case, which was the same exact day that he disappeared. Do you know that they had the forensics team at their house here in Florida within 24 hours? How can Florida have probable cause to get a forensic team inside of a home, but Tennessee can't? They had a forensic team inside Madeline Soto's home within 24 hours. So, I mean, I don't and I wish, and these are the questions that I feel that I don't know if she was. I don't think she was. You know what I think happened? And this goes to Brienne. Brienne wanted to know if she may have been pregnant. I don't believe she was, but they have not released the autopsy, so we're not going to know any of those details until most likely trial, or if they come out in some type of form of discovery. But what I do think, based upon what my understanding of everything when I did the research on this case, it appeared that that Jen and Stefan were separating. It sounds like this was going to be more permanent, more of a permanent separation. And I think that he knew that it was only going to be a matter of time. So I think he tried to interject himself in right at her birthday type area. Because from the way the grandmother said in one of the interviews before we got all this, which was kind of surprising, is that they didn't really know why he was there that weekend. I remember hearing her say that. So I feel like he knew that it was over, but because he had been in her life for so long, that this was his one opportunity. And I think that he did something along the lines because he knew that the relationship was souring, and it was only good. I don't know why I feel that way. Is it true? I don't know if it is. Just I have this like gut feeling it's something like that. Honestly, I don't think it had to do with her, that aspect of it, but some of the details we're hearing is just, I mean, it really does turn my stomach that this poor girl at such a young age had to be subjected to some of the stuff she was subjected to. CP and KP know Sebastian would have told the truth. And that was another thing. Thank you, Becky. I keep forgetting to bring that up. That was another thing that I kept wondering about, is that we are learning that there were things going on behind the doors at the Proudfoot home. And you know what? Maybe, guys, maybe we're kind of analyzing some things wrong. Let me just tell the first theory, and then we'll go over to the second. But they knew that he would tell the truth. So I keep wondering, was Katie concerned that when he went to live with his father full time, that some of the stuff behind the scenes at their house would come to light? And maybe that's what made her snap, or him snap, CP or KP. It's possible. But I was also thinking of something else that didn't really pop into my mind, but it could go to another theory we had as Katie being the person that kind of snapped because she was the only one home. She had a lot of things going on in her life and stuff like that. And I keep wondering if that was her concern, is that Sebastian would tell what was going on. So I don't know. I think Katie, I wonder if, and it makes me wonder if Katie did or was exhibiting some behavior that was concerning for Chris. Would Chris have approached Seth? Because Katie, I keep looking at this case, and with all of her childhood trauma, and like today on my show, they said that they do have court documents that show that Seth married her, that she was 14 when they got married. I don't know how true this is, but it sounds like they went through the process lawfully and legally in California. If that did happen, apparently her mother had to sign something. So I don't know. I really don't know. I know she didn't have him until she was 19 years old. And some people have a problem with that. And to me, I don't. If that's what the legal process was back then and they followed a legal process to get married, then that's the legal process. They did it lawfully and legally and with the blessings of our society, our courts, and everything else. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything criminal. I'm not looking at that. I understand why people would have concern with it and whatnot. I'm not having anything to, that's not the purpose of this conversation. Because at the end of the day, what does that, if it is true, what does that have to do with his disappearance? And it has nothing to do with it. It sounds like a lawful legal process was followed the lawful legal way at the time. And that's what we have to look at. So, again, it happened many years ago, and this was long before this boy was born. So I don't know what's true because I haven't seen the documents yet, but it makes me wonder if Katie had more problems than we knew, more behind the scene problems that were kept, under the rug, that were swept under the rug. What if Chris approached Seth because he started getting concerned that Katie might do something to Sebastian and couched it as them having marital problems and he just needs to take Sebastian? What if we're looking at this all wrong and maybe he was trying to help Sebastian get out of the home? What if the abuse wasn't Chris? I mean, seriously asking, what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't Chris? It's just another perspective that I don't know if we're looking at or giving, good, because she was home with him. We're hearing that is true, that Chris wasn't there that weekend. He disappeared and there was a weird light phenomenon around 3:00 in the morning. We all know that Chris was only 3.5 hours away. Could it be plausible? Of course it could be plausible. Of course it could be plausible. But it could also be plausible that people came over to help. And it could also be plausible that, Chris did something because he has a window of opportunity, and he's really the only one that has a window of opportunity to take care of something like this. And he just happens to be the one that's now running from channel to channel, gloating about how it's amazing that Sebastian left no evidence and how great it is. And I just find that a little weird. How long Seth's been missing now? 3 months? Yeah, Cindy, it's been almost 3 months, hon. It sure has. It sure has. I just saw you, Katrina, but I just moved up and I lost you. So give me a second. I wanted to see what you wrote. Give me just a second. What if KP was SA both the... you know what? I would like to say in that... Who wrote that? Was that Brandy? There was once upon a time that I would say that there's no possibility of that. But now after knowing her mom and her sister or half-sister and her... I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. It's weird. Mental breakdown. Yeah, like she was doing a lot, guys. I don't think people understand. Like she was, her husband was away. She, gone for extended periods. He was gone for a week or two at a time, sometimes longer than that she went without seeing her husband. She's got a medically disabled child that she's responsible for taking care of. Every time that her husband's not in the house, she's responsible for taking care of her disabled child alone, keeping that house clean alone, preparing all the meals alone, shopping all alone, doing all the maintenance around the house all alone. Everything that needs to be done, she is to handle that entire 3,400 square foot home by herself with a disabled child while going to school, maintaining a full-time job, and having marital problems. Would that be enough for a mental breakdown? I don't know. It really does depend from person to person. Go to the marital records in California and search their name for the exact date. Yeah, so there is some records. I know that. But somebody called into my show this morning to try to use those records as a way to club Seth over the head. And I'm like, they followed the law. You know, I don't know if you know anything about me. I'm a law and order chick. And I'm not going to beat somebody up for following the law. It sounds like they followed the law. And how we feel about it this day and age is our own personal viewpoints. Does it mean I like the idea? No. But did they follow the law? Yes. Okay, well, we're looking for criminals over here, not people that follow the law. And we're looking for criminals that did something to a 15-year-old boy, allegedly. You know? So that's kind of where my realm is and why I'm not really concerned about what happened before this child was born. It has no relevance in this case. It's a wedge issue, and it's a way to hurt a father that's already destroyed. He needs to find his son. He doesn't give a crap about what happened, you know, before his son was born. He cares about his son now, you know? And I'm just not engaging in it, and I kind of went off a little bit. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to tell people I'm not with the drama besides telling them I'm not with the freaking drama. This is a true crime genre. We talk about cases and we talk about criminals. I don't bash innocent people over the head. Period. And I'm not going to sit there and judge somebody. I'm not perfect. I have made... If I could... Guys, we could sit here and talk about me for a freaking year and all the damn mistakes I've made. Right? If I had a child right now... You know, do I deserve to be told that I'm the worst person in the world and I deserve to go to hell and I don't deserve, and screw me because I don't love my child? Like, that's insane. Absolutely insane. I can't engage in garbage like that. We're here to help, not hurt. A father's struggling. He didn't do this to his child. Obviously he's not the Pope. I'm not the Pope. I can tell you I've probably done worse things than Seth. So, you know, at the end of the day, there's that, right? So if anybody wants to beat up on people, beat up on me, beat up on my past, do whatever you guys need to do to me, drag me through the mud, I really don't give a shit either. But it doesn't change the fact that we have a 15-year-old boy that needs to be found. It doesn't change the fact that we all love this child, no matter what our background is. I guarantee there's people in here that are probably felons watching this and advocating for this child. Felons. Oh my God, they can't care. They're felons. They're horrible people. Burn them at the stake. They can't feel for a missing boy. That's insanity. It's insanity. I saw some of the most Skid Row people come out and be first people to help somebody down. First people to help somebody down. So it's, you know, I just don't want to engage in that. I really am discouraging people engaging in that because this man has a missing son and you cannot tell me he's not exhibiting that he loves his son very, very, very much. And all he wants is his son home. And you know what? I want positivity. I don't want this little boy's name sullied. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep having different topics to talk about. And you know what? We're going to keep the focus on the Proudfoots until they can explain what happened that morning, right? They're the ones with the answers. We want to know what those answers are, so we're going to focus on them until we have been satisfied that they know nothing. And I'm sorry, their behavior is not satisfying me that they know nothing. And this most recent comment we knew was coming because we said the exact same thing. Chris thinks that he was just going to be able to pull off this is just another 15-year-old runaway. Well, the true crime genre didn't let them do that. And we're not going to let them do that. So we're going to continue to bring a light to this child. And we're going to continue to shine a light on what happened to this child. And you know what? Unfortunately, and fortunately, it's not being shined on Seth whatsoever. There are two people and two people only that have a lot of answering to do. And they're the ones that are hiding. They're the ones that are wanting to look at motorcycles. They're the ones that are running away from home. They're not the ones running to the camera. They're not the ones running to social media. They're not the ones out there hitting the pavement. They're not the ones helping put vigils together. They're the ones sitting on their ass and hiding away like cowards. That's where our focus needs to be. Drawing them out, having them answer these questions. I think Seth has answered enough. It's time for us to start putting our feet on the neck of the Proudfoots and tell them it's time for them to answer these questions that don't make sense to the people of this community, to law enforcement, and more importantly, to Seth Rogers. That's where our focus should be, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm not everybody knows Bullhorn Betty comes with a price, right? It comes with a price. That means whenever people go against my moral values and compass, I will try to exit stage right. You bring that crap to my front door, I will address it. And that's what happened this morning on my live when somebody called into my show to club Seth over the head about potentially marrying Katie when she was 14. Whenever they were explaining it, they were explaining a lawful legal process that was followed. Okay, so that tells me that they are not trying to be criminals or do things against the law. They followed the law. That has no consequence to me. If it's appalling, it's appalling. Do I agree with it? Of course not. Did they follow the law and was it lawful? Yes. End of subject. End of story. Not my problem. Okay, I don't make the laws, right? But I am a law and order person. It's a distraction. Exactly. Why is this group of people that say that they care about Sebastian causing distractions to look away from the Proudfoots? Doesn't sound like they're on Team Sebastian. Because I can tell you the only people that have answering to do are the Proudfoots. So why is this team deflecting that information? Unsubscribe from them, guys. They're toxic. They're toxic. Please do yourself a favor. The toxicity has to go. I love the people that are here for Sebastian. I love the women that are out there working. I know a lot of people think that certain creators are crazy and quirky and stuff like that, but they bring something to the table and you shouldn't dog them because they're a little different or they think a little differently. You never know what they can do, right? Because 3 heads are better than 1, right? 100 heads are better than 2. So we do have some personality conflicts that we have to deal with, but if we really are genuine and we really want the best, certainly we can be a little more gracious, and that's what we'll say. So there are some that are quirky, positive. I always try to find the silver lining, When I first got on these streets of YouTube, you get sucked into the drama. It's so easy to get angry and be mean and just nasty, and then you get encouraged, and then you have people behind you, egging it on, and it just spirals out of control until you're almost a person you don't even know. So just stick to yourself, stick to your roots, stick to your calling. Be who you are, but be positive, And there truly is enough negativity in this world. We don't need to be part of it. Seriously, folks. I mean, we just don't. And not only that, but when, even this morning, I yelled at the guy. I don't want him calling back. I really don't, because I don't care. It seems like he has a hard-on to be mean to Seth, whatever. Seth didn't do this. I'm concerned about this boy and a crime that may have been committed against him. I could give 2 shits about whatever happened in the past. You know what? Honestly, that's the nuts and bolts. I don't care. Okay? That's not I got so much to work on here. I'm not trying to add more work to my workload. Right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What happened 20 years? It doesn't matter. What happened in the weeks and months leading up to this child's disappearance? That's all I care about. Where this child went, who may be involved. That's all I care about. If a person ain't there, I will work with a drug dealer. I will work with a Skid Row bum if he had nothing to do with it and his child was missing. You see what I'm saying? I don't care about their past. The only requirement is that you care enough to seek help. And I don't get this. We don't go after innocent people. We don't attack innocent people. Nobody's perfect. And it's crap. I mean, Seth, the shit I've done in my past pales in comparison to this man. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Are you going to say I'm a bad person because I have a history? That's pretty stupid. Some of the best people in the world came from a rubbled mess. So, there is that. But, oh well. We know, right? We know who the culprits are, don't we? Because we're smarter than a fifth grader. Well, some of us are. Some of us aren't. I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. A fifth grader would kick Bullhorn Betty's butt. We all know that, okay? I can't think that far back, okay? I don't even remember what I was taught in fifth grade, nor do I want to try. These fifth graders are pretty stinking smart. I got to tell you, if we could just retain the stuff by the fifth grade, into adulthood, I think we would all be Einsteins. So before we leave, let's just remember who our focus, who needs to answer. This woman right here has the most answers. She was the only one with this child. And she's missing in action. This is where our focus needs to be. And it needs to be on this crybaby here. This is where our focus needs to be. He stinks to high heaven. And so does that 17-hour, thank you, Sassy. So does that 17-hour tour. This is where our focus needs to be. I don't give a rat's ass what happened 20 years ago. Ask me if I care what happened 20. You guys want to know where I was 20 years ago? You don't want to know. It was a pretty scary place. 20 years ago, I was in my 20s. My mama almost lost me by 24. Okay? That was my 20 years ago. That was my 20 years ago. What was yours? What was your 20 years ago? Right? Let's focus on the people we need to be focusing on. That's where we need to be. We need to be focusing on this, not the noise, not the distractions. This. The Proudfoots have a lot of answers to have, right? We need questions answered. They have the answers to our questions. They're the ones that are warranted of our shoe on the back of their neck, okay? We're not going to worry about wedge issues of crap that happened lawfully 20 years ago. We're going to talk about unlawful things that happened 3 months ago. That's where I'm at. If you guys are with all that, rock it out with me. But make sure when you rock it out with your coffee beans out. That's how we roll up in here. Okay? And don't be a Richard. That's another one way we roll. All right, guys, God bless. Keep it clean. Keep it above the waist. Keep it below the face. You guys know how to roll. Quit pulling on all the pigtails. Try to come together, play in the sandbox nice, okay? Don't be a dick. All right, guys. I'll be back a little later. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'll be back probably early afternoon, see what's going on out there. I might start diving into a couple of the cases. We got some movement on cases that we've covered, like Crystal Rogers, Madeline Soto. We're getting some movement. We hear that Jose Bias, that is the attorney for Casey Anthony, might be representing Jennifer Soto. That cannot be good. Cannot be good. So guys, stay with me. I'll keep you guys updated with all the other cases as well. We'll keep you guys updated with Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is our focus right now. I'm hoping that if and when my car is fixed, we get out to Tennessee. And when we get out to Tennessee, we've got two major cases that we are going to be helping out with. It's going to be Sebastian Rogers and Layla Santinello. Layla Santinello is a young girl that disappeared last year. I had an opportunity to meet her mom. We've had an opportunity for our channel, the Bullhorn Betty channel, to really help and assist that family financially, with shirts, with flyers, with a whole host of stuff. That was courtesy of the Bullhorn Betty channel and the beautiful mods that we have, our mod squad that's there, that does their own volunteer work with their own businesses and stuff like that, coming together and really wrapping our hands around a family. And so that really is our Layla Santinello case. And so we will be out there because she has not been found. It's a case that we've been since the ground floor, and we want to make sure that she is not forgotten, because just like Sebastian, we do not want to ever let any of our cases to be forgotten. And this is one that I feel is not getting enough attention. We've got to start looking and advocating for Layla Santinello as well, because she's got a 3-year-old daughter that doesn't know what happened to her mom, and her mother that is dying to find out what happened to her daughter. So it's a lot of pain out here in Tennessee when it comes to these missing kids, guys. And so we need to start trying to quit attacking and start helping. That's where I'm at. God bless, guys. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. We'll see you soon. God bless.